and give the U.S. something to come back to life on. They're searching for wickets and needing them.
Also just been, I'm going to retweet this, sorry if you're not on Twitter or whatever it's called these days. I've been sent the most incredible photo here by Yubraj Sadai. He says, hi Cricket Badge, at Cricket Badge, hi Andrew, one of my dad's close friends, Samir Joshi, wanted me to share this with you. He's not on Twitter, but he's watching the coverage live from Nepal. Have a look at this, man. This photo was taken on the final day after the national games in the 1980s. I think this is in the Tudikil kind of, it's the main park right downtown in Kathmandu. This was before there was any international cricket in Nepal. As this goes miles into the air, it could be the second wicket. It's Van Schalkwyk that comes round and puts it down. And you can't really say you're surprised. If you're looking for a microcosm of everything that USA have been through over the last 48 hours, that's it. Maybe the only surprise that of all people to put down the catch, it's Shadley Van Schalkwyk.
Well, had a similar chance 2 days ago, wasn't it? Running to his right. He was a little bit deeper out, but chance to take a catch, puts it down, came straight off the hands. This one was in the air for a while, was spiraling just a little bit, but you can see he was never quite under it. Hands were nowhere near the ball. Like you rightfully said, it's just a microcosm of what these past 48 hours have been for the USA.
But it's just totally unnecessary from Anil Shah. He doesn't need to do that. They're going along at over 5 and over, and he's just given them a chance from nothing. It wasn't full enough to hit down the ground. He doesn't need to go in the air over at mid-on. Jesse Singh, again, doesn't look in full fluency. Better over from him. 5 runs from it. Should have been the second wicket. Van Schalkwyk comes over to apologise. But we were just talking about that photo that's been sent to us. Get one more look at the drop. It did go a long way up. It wasn't easy, but this has to be taken.
No, and Shadley Van Schalkwyk could tell you he should have taken this 100%. Again, you can see his hands were never in the right place. It was well too far left. He didn't seem to be in the right position under the ball. And little basics haven't gone the way of the USA. But you rightfully said, no reason to play that shot if you're no Shah.
And the Nepal fans certainly loved it. They really did. Yeah, Nepal only became a associate member of the ICC in 1996, and that was the year that they first played any international of any kind. So that photo we'd been sent maybe 10 or 12 years before that. Just the style though, Aman. Big fan of some of the style on show there. The old cable knit sweaters, the whites, and of course the Dhaka topis in the middle as well. I'd imagine, we can't see the pitch they were playing on, but I'd imagine there was a fair bit of spin bowled. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me to see a little bit of the wrist work come out on that surface. Not surface, not like the one we have here in Grand Prairie.
Tudikil is probably, if you think of kind of saying, no, our game is here. And it certainly, I think volleyball is technically the national sport for Nepal, but cricket has absolutely taken over in every capacity with the storied rise of the team over the last decade plus. And they've been such a good story, haven't they, for the associate game. Harmeet Singh just causing a bit of threat here. Bertel taking a little while to get going. 19 bowled, USA.
threatening, really.
Yeah, only 4 bowlers used thus far. And just speaking of those American fans, just had a really good question come in online from Zoe, who's watching on from Las Vegas, of all places.
Beautiful.
I think the Raiders have a bye week this week, or they're certainly not at home today. 50 for Anil Shah. It's come off 51 balls as the crowd rises to him. He's played nicely. He has had that life and a bit of fortune. Probably not quite as in control as Asif Sheikh was. 5 fours, 51 balls. Well played.
Yeah, third one-day international 50 for Anil Shah. And again, you mentioned probably not as in control as he would have wanted to, but he's put the impetus on the USA. He's taken advantage of anything with the width. He's played brilliantly through the covers, and he's put on a great platform for Nepal.
The question from Zoe is, she's got into cricket since watching the T20 World Cup. She says, I know that in T20 a bowler can bowl 4 overs, but is there a maximum for the number of overs that a bowler can bowl in one-day international cricket? There is. It's proportionately the exact same as a T20. So in T20 cricket you can only bowl 4, you're correct, which is you have to therefore use at least 5 bowlers of 4 each. You can use more than that, but you have to use a minimum. In ODI cricket it's the exact same. You have to use 5 bowlers, therefore the maximum that any one bowler can bowl is 10 overs. There were days actually back at the start of ODI cricket it was 60 overs and sometimes 55 where you could bowl 11 or 12, but they always kind of compel you to bowl 5, which it's for a couple of reasons really. It's to add balance to the teams, and it's to ensure that it's not just the same bowlers bowling over and over again. But great to hear from you, Zoe, in the bright lights of Las Vegas. And I've got to retweet this one as well, because Ashish Tahal says, speaking of Halloween, we heard you talking about Halloween. I dressed up as Rowan Powdell for the Halloween block party yesterday in Athens, Ohio.
Beautiful. How about that? Rowan Powdell walking around the streets of Athens, Ohio. That wasn't on my 2024 bingo card.
He's wishing the Nepal team all the best. I just love the fact there's an Athens in Ohio. I know there's a Dublin in Ohio. And some people will know this. I don't know if you know this. I'm only half Irish, Shaman. Did you know that?
I actually did not know that. Only half Irish.
Okay, well, I've probably given it away, but you can guess where my other half is from. It's not Nepal. You might think it's Nepal. It pretty much is now. If you cut me in half, I'd bleed half Nepali. But where do you reckon the other half's from?
So you got to be Greek.
Correct.
Yeah? There you go.
So the fact that there's a Dublin, Ohio, and there's an Athens, Ohio.
You got to get back up to Ohio.
Great to see plenty of fans and colour and style in the crowd today. But yeah, so maybe Ohio is the place I've got to be. And now that there's some Nepal fans there too.
You talked to me how you love football. That's where American football was born, Canton, Ohio. So it just seems like the perfect place for Andrew Leonard. Yeah, that's where the Hall of Fame is over there, and that's why Cleveland Browns fans.
Why was it born there then? Is it just the first place it was played?
Yeah, it was the first place that they had, I think, organized American football happening. And
wow!
So the Hall of Fame is there, and
I would have thought. Sorry to cut you. I would have thought. Pennsylvania, or somewhere of the real history and heritage of the country. I think baseball started out somewhere there, didn't it?
Yes, I believe the baseball started out somewhere in the Northeast,
in the kind of East Coast. Wow, Ohio.
See, you got to get over there, Lenny. I had family in Ohio for the longest period of time. Have some family who've just moved over there, so I've been there on multiple occasions. But yeah, Canton, Ohio.
10 football teams gathered there in 1920. There we go. I genuinely did not know that. It's known as the birthplace of football. And the NFL was hilariously organised in a Canton automobile showroom.
Yeah.
T20. And one of the early powers of pro football was the Canton Bulldogs. They were an NFL charter member, and they became the new league's first 2-time champions with undefeated seasons in 22 and 23. End of the 20th over here, 109 for 1. As Nosh Kenjige is going to come into the attack for the first time. Yeah, if there's any Greek cricket fans watching, I think that might be a big ask. Please do get in touch.
So just learning all about Andrew Leonard, and he's learned a lot about the States now as well. And let's learn a lot about Nosh Kenjige today and what he's going to be going through, what he has to offer, because didn't have the greatest of days 48 hours ago, but has to be able to find himself a wicket in today's play. And Kushal Bartelli's just starting to get himself going. But only a matter of time, you expect, before we see maybe a Sanjay Krishnamurti, maybe a Milind Kumar come into the attack just to give another option to Mayank Patel. Fielder brought into short cover after that single.
Better from Anil Sat. Don't need to take risk in these middle overs. You definitely want to keep putting pressure on USA by putting the bad balls away and picking up the ones and twos. But there is a lot of power to come. You think about captain in at 4, but particularly Gulshan Jha and Dipender Singh Hari at 5 and 6. If they could have a platform of 10, 15 overs to bat that these two and Powell could give them, well, then Nepal will definitely be thinking of 300 plus.
Yeah, plenty of power in that Nepal side. We've talked about Gulshan Jha, Dipender Singh Hari, Rohit Paudel. So plenty of those guys who can come in and really accelerate when you need to. But if you can get to that 30 over mark with just the 1 wicket down, maybe 2, you're in a real position to put on some runs. And there's a lot of pressure now going to be put on the USA top order that just had a really poor showing with the bat, and a lot of them coming off some poor form. You see a youngster collect that one at short third. That's Yasser Mohammed, and you almost feel like he's soon to be into the team at some point. Just give you another bowling option. He's a leggy who hasn't been a part of the T20s nor the ODIs as of yet. Lenny?
I think he's on for Jesse Singh, if I'm seeing it right. Don't see Singh in the outfield at the moment, so he's on as a sub-fielder. Plenty of questions and comments coming in about the upcoming Nepal Premier League too. There's a huge amount of excitement for that. That's going to be the inaugural edition of... There has been plenty of franchise cricket historically in Nepal going back many years, but this is the first kind of board owned, organised and arranged franchise league. And again, that goes back to the, I suppose, the stability that Paris Khadka has brought to the board, to the organisation. He's the secretary, and then he'll answer into the board and work with the board on all the things that they're doing. But 8 teams, which is a big statement. The Bharatnagar Kings, the Chitwan Rhinos, the Janakpur Bolts, the Karnali Yaks, the Kathmandu Gurkhas, the Lumbini Lions, the Pokhara Avengers, and then the Dipender Singh Hari marquee-led Sudar Prashim Royals. And that's obviously Sudar Prashim is a province where there's a huge amount of cricket, but it's a lovely thing the way they've designed it. They've actually kind of spread the teams across the whole breadth of the country, right the way from the far west, from Sudar Prashim out to the far east to Bharatnagar. And you can imagine some of the big... There was kind of a marquee player assigned to each of the 8. That was Lamachani, Kushal Malla, Asif Sheikh, Sampal Kami, Karan KC, Rohit Paudel, the national team captain Kushal Bertel, and of course Dipender Singh Hari. But then, because the draft was held just after the Canada tour, the demand for the likes of Gulshan Jha and Anil Sat and Lalit Rajbanshi in particular was very strong. And they were some of the highest bid for players. As this is edged and dropped. It's a second catch that's gone down. And it's Mayank Patel, the captain. Not easy, but another one that you would imagine that should have been held.
Well, you bring in Sarabjit Tendulkar for this exact reason. He's looking to take a wicket, Mayank Patel. He's brought in this main strike bowler, and you can see the disappointment on his face. That's an opportunity that you would expect to take. Yes, tough, yes, diving out to your right, but you're expecting that Tendulkar to push it away, carrying on with the angle. It's caught a little outside edge as Patel looked to drive it through covers. And yet, hit square in the palm. Really closer to the wrist and went straight down. Mayank Patel will be upset with himself after that one.
Now he comes up to the stumps. He certainly won't be catching a ball that's edged that wide up to the stumps. So it was Anil Sah that had the life. I think he was dropped on 45, was it, off Jesse Singh. And now Kushal Bertel gets one It's not an easy chance, but you'd back your keeper to take this, wouldn't you? Did he react a little bit late, if anything?
Yeah, he's in a position understanding that the ball is going to be pushed away, and I think that's the biggest thing. You're not anticipating coming over the wicket, as Sarbanath Walker with a ball that's 22 overs old, to swing it back in, so you're anticipating it to leave you. You have to be in the position. And it just felt that he was probably maybe a step.
Could well have had 3 on the board. 2 catches have gone down. First one was regulation, really. No, it wasn't the easiest. And then the second one, a difficult chance for Madank Patel going to his right, who looks, well, not exactly pleased with himself with the gloves on. Now the outside edge beaten. Nepal just getting themselves in the middle here. A little bit of their own making. 22 have been bowled. 116 for 1. Of course, we've spoken at length about Ohio there without mentioning one of its finest sons, Ali Khan, from Dayton, Ohio. I know he lives in Texas now, but still proud of his, how do I say it, Ohioan roots?
Ohio, I think that's right. I think you get that. You and Ohio are just becoming best of pals right now.
Become even better pals if they go a certain way in the upcoming election, but we won't get into that. We had enough election the other day, didn't we? As Kenjige is going to continue.
That election's a hot topic, Lenny. Again, it's all we were leaving the hotel this morning, and that's all that was being talked about on the TV. So again, wouldn't be surprised that it's muddling around up there.
It's not, the thing that you don't get from overseas, like I follow all the election coverage incredibly closely wherever I am in the world, whether you're on CNN or online or whatever it is. But the thing you don't get, you only get when you're here, is the scale of advertising. Mm-hmm. So like watching the college football game last night.
Yep.
Really entertaining. Every time, went to a break, you were seeing a Ted Cruz for Senate ad that said nothing about Ted Cruz. It just said stuff about his opponent.
It's become almost a whole production in itself, hasn't it? The political ads, whether that is of whatever party, whatever candidate. They don't tend to talk a lot about the candidate in particular. You get the last maybe 10 seconds to talk about your candidate, but the other, say 20 if you have a 30-second adder.
Yeah, this is a full toss, smashed down the ground, but long on is in place. Mukamala holds on. Anil Shah has just found a way to give it away. It's a poor delivery, isn't it? He could have hit it anywhere, and all he's done is hole out. It was almost as though he just couldn't get settled. He played nicely. He's got to 50, but he's managed to find a way, almost to conspire to get himself out. I can't give any credit to the bowler there. Credit to Mukamala for holding on to the catch. And USA somehow have got their second.
Yeah, I know Shah was given a life in his 40s, and he just never felt comfortable since that point. It's a dipping full toss, but it's still a rank full toss. Really should have been put outside the ground or even placed, but he hit it right down the throat of Mukamala. And for the first time in that USA camp, in 48 hours, you're seeing smiles across the face of the majority of people in the group, and not wry smiles. These are smiles of a team that feels they're back in it. I know Shah, good innings from him, 56 off 62, but it kind of just came off the rails towards the end, and those dirty dozens, these USA fans are starting to appreciate. They see themselves on the big screen, and they're finally given something to cheer for.
They are great lads, these lads. Got to get down there and have a chat to them during the interval. Actually, just heard from Ali Khan. I can't claim credit for knowing this, but continuing the Ohioan chat. A fun fact, he says to me, the Wright brothers
They're from Ohio, but the first flight's in North Carolina. Don't let them tell you differently.
Kitty Hawk in North Carolina.
There it is.
So there's that North Carolina. I've been to Kitty Hawk.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful beaches, I reckon,
It's
I've
incredibly
ever seen.
Brilliant. I actually have never coast, so you have to drive about probably closer to 3 hours, then probably take
And
a
you've
ferry
never
out.
been there?
Never been out there. Actually, it's crazy. I was born closer to the coast as well.
I'm really disappointed in you. I'm not often disappointed in you. Rowan Powell to the crease. He's at number 4. Captain comes to the crease. USA all of a sudden have a jig in their step and have inroads into this Nepal team. A lot of it's been of Nepal's doing, I must say. There hasn't been much from USA. Now just a little bit of turn on offer. Only 2 runs in the over. The game is coming back into the balance. 23 have been bowled. It's 118 for 2, according to Ali Khan. A big shout out to the Yorker King himself. Great to hear from you as always, mate. He says that they have a university named after them in Dayton and an Air Force base.
They do,
the Wright
yeah.
brothers.
They actually owned a bike store up in Ohio before they came down to North Carolina to go ahead and.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was hybrid's probably the wrong description, but it was kind of an evolution of a bike style design that finally helped things to take flight. Without them, I certainly may not be here, and well, Nepal might not have been able to get the jet plane either to come and bring you this Cricket World Cup League 2 action. Really enjoying having you along with us. We're into the 24th over now, as Bertel just hasn't looked settled as he's battled. This is such an important game for both sides, but particularly for Nepal. Played 8, they've won only 1 game so far. There's 36 matches, a lot of cricket to be played. It goes all the way to December 2026. But they don't want to come away from this tour without any points. They need to get winning some games.
Again, it's a long tour, but you start losing early and you just put yourself in a hole, and now every game would mean more with the win. And so you don't want to have to replicate what you did in the first edition. Well, every Nepali fan would love those consecutive wins. You have to find a way to pick some points up now, early. And this really, you can take USA on when they're most vulnerable. We've talked about new head coach, then in the ODI phase, to Scotland just 2 days ago. And again, for the early part of this match, it was all Nepal, but Bertel, very differently from the openers, has started to fetch outside the off stump, just prod at deliveries that were left alone or hammered.
It's better, cover drive, but there's protection. The second power play is always different, and another misfield. Oh, that was regulation. And there's a big collection of the Nepal fans out in that far side because they're taking the shade from the scoreboard. That section's almost entirely full, actually, over underneath the scoreboard. And they gave... Can't quite make out the fielder. I just wonder, is it possibly Milan Kumar out there? With the misfield. We'll get that checked. It's a long way away from our commentary position. It's the very opposite corner of the ground. But the Nepal fans loved it and let him know.
Yeah, again, anytime you're going to put that misfield out there or put anything happening, the Nepal fans will make sure you hear it. I actually had looked down to scribble something down, and then I heard the roar. I said, I got to look back up to see what's happened. So I'll always let you know something's going on out there in the middle.
Another misfield. Won't cost a run this time, as Kenjige isn't able to react quickly enough. We'll keep going with these questions, Aman. They are flooding in on social media. I'm just not keeping up with them, so apologies the ones we're missing. People asking how to watch the game. Lots of people asking how to watch the game. Stick Sports in Nepal on ICC TV around the world. And also here in North America in Willow TV. It's a good tight over, just the 3 runs come from it. Yeah, Astic Pockerell's getting in touch and asking about that festival of the Himalayas. How will the competition work? That's the the upcoming Nepal Premier League. So that will be 8 teams. They'll all play each other once, and then they'll come through, I believe, into an IPL style playoff. So it's from the 30th of November through to the 21st or maybe 22nd of December. I'll get checked when the grand final will be. 21st of December at the TU International Cricket Ground. But some of the overseas players is the question that I've been asked. All 8 have now announced at least one overseas player, and there has been a bit of conjecture online as to the number of full member overseas that are allowed, but some really big names have already been signed up. Aki Bilias, captain, is going to join Sandy Plamachani, and Kevin O'Brien, the former Irish all-rounder, one of my best pals, who's going to be the head coach of the Bratnagar Kings. I know how excited he is to get back to Nepal. As an edge is taken, and that's a wonderful catch, and USA have come to life from nowhere. Bertel just never looks set, and a fine diving effort going swiftly across to his right from Shadley Van Schalkvik. He dropped one earlier, but he's held on to this one, and USA, well, from nowhere, coming back maybe from the depths of hell to bring this contest back into the balance. The moment of the match thus far, an outstanding catch from the America's all-rounder.
Had to right the wrong of that earlier drop, and you can see Bertel never looks set, just almost closed the face, but outstanding one-handed, diving out, full out, and what, for me here, the emotion on display. Nash Kenjige, big hug, Yasser Mohammed roaring in. You saw Harmeet Singh with the big smile, Mona Patel with the big fist bump and a high five. This is the American team we've grown to expect and come to really enjoy watching. And Nepal, got to find a way to get going. Gulshan Jha will join them. It's 121 for 3.
Well, it's not going to be Gulshan Jha, so we'll have to ask our graphics team to correct that, because it's the diminutive figure of Asif Sheikh. He's often the man for a crisis, and this to me indicates a change in approach from Monty Desai. He always has flexibility in his lineup. The lineup we were given indicated that Jha would be at 5, Irie at 6, and then Arif Sheikh down at number 7. But they've gone with the Iceman. He's known as being very cool and calm and under pressure. This game, well, 35 minutes ago, it looked like Nepal could post 400 and USA would be blitzed away. It's changed in a matter of moments, and you would have to say that particularly for Asif Sheikh and Dev Canal's the travelling reserve, and for Anil Shah, they're the architects of their own downfall. They haven't fallen to good deliveries. This was nicely bowled by Kenjige to dismiss Kushal Bertel, but they just did. Is it a misread of the match situation as we get one more look at this spectacular catch?
Yeah, again, it almost felt like they thought everything was just going to keep going their way. Again, spectacular catch indeed, and the USA have taken advantage of those opportunities when they've come up, apart from the 2 drops. But again, that almost throw the hands, that one that was a little bit wider, just the rank shot, like you mentioned earlier, bat time, stick in the middle. The USA at that point didn't have any momentum, didn't have any life, any juice in their steps, and right now they're back.
Nice use of the feet by Powell, and he's so quick he'll get home comfortably, even though mid-on is up in the circle. And credit to Kenjige as well. He's probably one of USA's most experienced players. You'll always think of him as young, but he's not young. He just looks young. He looks like a kid, doesn't he? But he's 33 years of age. He's in immaculate condition always. And for me, this is the better of the 2 white ball formats for him. I don't think he's a bad T20 bowler, but certainly you think about the fact that he only made his T20 debut. I think it was last year, wasn't it? His T20I debut came against Canada in 2024, which you look astounded by. But he had this remarkable record where I think he'd played something like 42 ODIs without having played a T20I yet.
Well, maybe that I'm thinking about those matches in Morrisville, the qualifiers, sub-regional qualifiers back in 2018. Those might not have been officially T20Is, but I reckon, or I feel like he was part of those.
They weren't. He did play 6 games that weren't T20Is, but the whole period from 2019 through to 2024, he never played. So Kareem Agor was initially in place, and then Nisarg Patel was the incumbent left-arm spinner. And then it's actually somewhat ironic that when Harmeet Singh qualified and became available, it was then, I think it was Stuart Law who made the call that we've got to get Nosh Kenji in. Look at him in Major League last year. He's a super bowler. But for me, I don't think he's as good a he's not a bad T20 bowler by any stretch, but he's a much better ODI bowler. And his career numbers kind of would suggest that as well. Really good economy rate in particular. As we see Ivan Skalkovic return to the attack. Do you need to get those graphics corrected? It is not Gulshan Shah at the crease. It is Arif Sheikh. So I'll get onto that, Aman.
Well, for Naj Kinjige, I think what he does well and what the ODI allows him to do is he can just kind of go about his business bowling. He doesn't have to throw in different deliveries every ball. He's able to set up batters. He changes his pace well through the air. Versus in T20 cricket, what he's adapted himself to do is throw in the variations sooner, and that can cause maybe one or two looseners, but he's really developed that part of his game. And Skalkovic coming back in, an interesting call. Yes, we saw Saurabh Netravalkar with a couple of overs earlier, so maybe that's what's pushed Netravalkar back to save him for the death. But this is where Van Skalkovic's role has kind of been defined. In the middle, he's able to do very good things with the cutters and the change-up deliveries. He plays a lot of T20 cricket domestically, and so he has this skill. Again, it's Arif Sheikh and Rohit Paudel at the moment. Arif Sheikh's on strike. He's on 3. And this is what Arif Sheikh can do. Not an expansive stroke maker. He's not going to be blitzing at the ball, but he can just hold himself down in the middle. 60 strike rate. He averages 25, but he'll make sure he does is spend time and bat time. And I actually really like this move from head coach Monty Desai to bring him in. You heard Lenny mention he's always very flexible with the batting order, wants his players to be able to bat in different situations. But this isn't a situation for Gulshan Shah, who you don't want to hold back and force him to play apart from his natural game. And it's why Arif Sheikh has real value in the ODI format. I think more value in the ODIs versus the T20s. He does give you some overs with the ball as a gentle medium pacer, but with him as a bat, can just keep things going, can keep wickets at bay, can almost tire out the USA, get them off their momentum. We've spoken about how momentum's like a river, just kind of flows in your direction when you pick up things in your favor. Quick single take, and this could be close. We'll get a very quick between the stumps, but sent back was Rohit Paudel. Didn't want to take on the arm of Andres Kraus.
We'll manage to get those graphics corrected. It is, of course, Arif Sheikh at number 5. Tell me something about baseball, Aman. You might not know the answer because I know you're not as big a baseball fan, but when we get given a team sheet each morning, the captains exchange them at the toss and give them to the match referee. This is in cricket. They name an 11, and sometimes, not always, it really is up to the kind of discretion of the team manager or the team and their approach as we get to the end of the 26th. It's 127 for 3. They will sometimes write the playing 11 in batting order. They won't always. Kind of, I would say from all the games I've done in my life, it's about 50-50, maybe 60-40 that decide to or not. In this instance, they've written in the order that Gulshan Shah is going to be at 5, Dipender Singh at 6, and Arif Sheikh at 7. But you're not bound by that in any way. In fact, if a player has to use a bathroom, or sometimes you'll have strange incidences where batters won't be ready or won't be able to walk out, or strategically you'll want to change it. You want to get a bigger hitter in because there's fewer deliveries left, or in this case you'll want to look for a bit of stability with Arif Sheikh at the crease rather than the big hitting Gulshan Shah. What about baseball? Do they have to list the 9 and the order they go in, and then that cannot change?
Yeah, so you give the batting order, and that is the batting order for the whole match. But the one difference, and the reason that is because you do create pinch hitters.
Swept away for 4. That's one of the reasons Sheikh will have been sent in. He's a good player of spin, and he does like to sweep. Just a bit of angle in to the right-hander, and the only man in the deep is, well, he's a long way in front to square. This is swept well behind square. Yeah, it's a smart batter. And Arif Sheikh, again, what he does really well is he just bats time, and he doesn't play outside of his own means, and that's what Nepal needs at the moment. I mentioned that one fielder well in front of square. No reason to. That sweep is always on. Back to that point about baseball, you have a pinch hitter, and basically you're able to sub in that pinch hitter
for one of your regular 9 bats. So it's very particular the order that you come in, very important that you stick by it so you know who he's come in for. And once that pinch hitter comes into bat, the regulation batter can't come back in, so you tend to see that pinch hitter come in probably closer to the 9th inning, maybe in inning number 7, when the game's really in a situation where you need someone to do something, either bunt the ball really well or power it down the ground.
Yeah, we spoke about how Kenjig is more effective in this format, in 50 over cricket, than 20 over cricket. It's very much the same for Arif Sheikh. He's always been a fine 50 over player. I was surprised to even see him in the squad, let alone in the 11 for the T20s. You do wonder if there was maybe from Nepal a little bit of sort of pragmatism around not selecting a specialist T20 squad for either the 6-match no-frills T20 Cup that followed the ODIs in Canada, or the 3-match Stake Stars and Summits Trophy that preceded these ODIs. Their focus was on Cricket World Cup League 2.0.
every game, all the fans will get up and do a big wave to
Unbelievable.
all the children who are watching down on the.
Didn't know. I love
glass.
that. That's an Iowa.
That's in Iowa. Yeah, it's
The
brilliant.
Hawkeyes.
The Hawkeyes.
Yeah, we went to a. Well, when I say we went to a game, we we went to the tailgating aspect.
There
of the
you go.
game.
Yeah.
Again, if you're watching from Nepal and you're wondering what tailgating is, it's nothing to do with how you drive. it's sort of an American tradition of driving your car to a big parking lot before the game.
Yep.
And I think this homecoming game started at 1 p.m. So everyone was there at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Yeah.
With you stick your barbecue in the trunk of the big ute or pickup truck that you have, or your van or your car, and you play kind of games of pitch and toss and cornhole, and we had a whale of a time, and the Irish accent was certainly a good novelty factor for all of the Iowa Hawkeyes fans that we met. No idea who won or what happened, but it was a marvellous day out. There is something in American sport, and that's where, again, I think Major League deserve real praise with what they're doing, with not just this stadium and the job they've done here, but with kind of trying to build up that culture of fan support. As well, a strange moment here. Jesse Singh wanted to come on and bowl. I don't think he'd been back on the field for long enough because he'd been off. I don't think it was that Manik Patel told him he's not bowling. I think the umpire, Jermaine Lindo, said, no, you've been off for 4 overs, you can't bowl for 4.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. You saw Rushain point to his wrists, pointing to the watch, saying you haven't been on for enough time yet. Excuse me, make it Jermaine Lindo, rather. They always seem to umpire in pairs in the domestic scene, but pointing to the wrist, saying, no, mate, you got to wait. And that's another great rule, I think, in cricket as well. If you're off the field, you can't do your specialty role until you're on the field for that same amount of time.
Yeah, Jermaine Lindo, the 47-year-old local umpire here from the United States, was born in Jamaica, but he's been a big part of the American cricket community for a long time now. His 9th ODI standing today alongside 14 T20Is. He's joined by Russell Warren of England, who has been sent over. All the ODIs always have to have at least one neutral umpire. Former Northamptonshire County Cricket Club keeper, who's only standing in his 3rd ODI, although he did have that bit of associate experience. He was doing some of the T20Is there in Guernsey this summer as part of the T20 World Cup qualification pathway. Had a good chat to Dean Cosker this morning. He's really enjoying kind of, this is his first taste of the associate level, and he was saying he's been very impressed by the standard.
Yeah, I think the World Cup did that for a lot of people in the T20 World Cup, where you get to see these teams play and you realize that there isn't that huge drop-off that people think about with the test-playing nations and the non-test-playing nations. You're seeing those individuals play really high-level cricket. And, again, there's so many exceptional stories and so many exceptional players. You've highlighted so many of those stories. And even a guy like Deepinder Singh Airi, number 2 ranked T20 all-rounder in the world, regardless associate or full member. And that's a huge credit to the skills that each player in associate cricket have.
Yeah, they're halcyon days for the associate game. It's got more attention, more oxygen than ever before, as that's driven flowingly through the offside, but will just be a single. And deservedly so. They deserve all of that attention and focus. So many of the men's and women's players are often juggling full-time work or full-time studies or making significant sacrifices. Their families around them will often make sacrifices for them to chase their dreams. As Harmeet Singh is warming up at mid-off, does that indicate maybe a rest for Kenjigate after this over? It's a favoured shot of Powdell. Loves that stroke. But they're halcyon days for a reason. There's finally a platform for them. There's qualification pathways that make sense, that are based on merit, that give really good and equal opportunity to all the teams coming into them. And for a side, let's say, that aspires to be in this Cricket World Cup League 2, that it's in the Challenge League, or even though it's beneath that, you at least know what you need to do to get up to this, and then the opportunities, the additional funding that you will get, the additional fixtures, the additional exposure you'll get through ICC TV. Every single ball of both men's and women's T20 World Cup and ODI World Cup pathways is broadcast around the world.
And that's the real big thing. At some point there was a level of you just don't know. You don't know what you can't see, right? And now, for every associate side, as the 30th over comes to a close, 145 for 3, you can see it, and so that way you're able to identify with players. You're able to watch them, and you're able to see just how good they are, really for the first time ever.
Yeah, and that's part of that ICC and IMG pathway events deal that ensured in the first cycle 541 games. Coming into this cycle, I don't actually know the number. I don't think it's been, they've even collated it, but it'll be more because there's more cricket than ever. Each of those pathways is expanded. There's more teams trying to qualify through Africa, through Europe, through the Americas. I believe it's going to be a 9-team sub-regional down in the Americas. That will be held in Argentina, so that will be the sides. USA are there automatically for the next T20 World Cup, but it'll be Canada who are automatically into the final, and then I think it's going to be 9 teams that will be playing out to fill the other 3 spots in the final. So someone like Bermuda will be a favourite, but there's some great work being done in Argentina and Brazil. Be fascinating to see some of the other countries that come in. Does a Mexico come into it or something like that? And certainly some of the stuff we've seen on the Pathway Events channels has been phenomenal, isn't it? Super overs, hat-tricks, records. And 5 years ago, you might not have even got a live scorecard.
See something that's happened, or you see they get on to the ICC social media and some of the big sixes that were hit down out in East Asia, and you can watch every ball wherever you are. I can listen to you and PDP out in the Netherlands talking about the League Two and seeing the Netherlands play up close and in person. The USA, Canada, and whoever. And again, it's a big jump for a lot of these players too, because I think it brings that sense of pride that hey, people are watching, people care, and we have a real opportunity to do something. There's context in every game we play.
I'll tell you something, the players love it. They might not love it when they bowl 10 overs, done for 80 and have a bad day, or they drop a catch, but they do love it, and they'll get on to you after the game and say, not just from an analysis point of view, but from a, just purely a pride point of view, or their family and friends being able to watch and tune in, or they want to be able to watch back on their own performances. And there's a few, we won't name names, that really enjoy posting up the best of their moments on their Instagram stories and whatnot, their social media feeds. USA are wresting back the initiative here. Nepal are getting themselves into trouble. Harmeet Singh did come back into the attack, just 2 runs from his 6th. 31 bowled, 147 for 3. Over 8's been really good. Still 10 minutes away from the second drinks break. Messages continue to come in on social media. And I never read out the negative ones. We don't get many. Their adopted home in the USA, so to kind of to add to that sense of belonging here. A long, long way from their original home. They're loving every second of watching Arif Sheikh do his thing here. And I think it was dropped on the gantry there. He's gone with the crocodile hands. You've got to get that fingers pointing up or pointing down. Basics, man.
Got to get in the right position, whether it's on the field or off of it. You got to get in the right position. You can't keep it if you catch it, but it'll have your moment on TV. We clipped it up, send it to you had we found you.
Yeah, Nepal are just trying to give that platform that they need back now. Let's have a look. Was this dropped? Here we go. Your moment to shine, my friend. Oh dear. In and out. And unlike baseball where you get to keep the ball,
भयो होला कान्तिपुरको भिडियोको लाइभ भन्दा बढी हाम्रोमा भ्युज थियो किन यस्तो पनि हुन्छ है त किन यस्तो हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ म त तपाईँलाई क्लियर गरिदिन्छु कि कान्तिपुरमा जब युट्युबमा लाइभ आउँछ नि क्रिकेटको मात्र है त क्रिकेटको लाइभ यदि युट्युबमा कान्तिपुर या कुनै पनि च्यानलले दिन्छ भने प्रायः जस्तो जियो अन गरिएको हुन्छ त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कान्तिपुरले दिने त्यो लाइभ थियो नि त्यो लाइभ केवल नेपालको लागि मात्र थियो बाहिर देशको लागि थिएन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कान्तिपुरमा भन्दा बढी वाचिङ हाम्रो बढी के भन्छ भ्युज हाम्रोमा आएको थियो वर्ल्ड कप क्रिकेट लिग 2 मा
Well, welcome back to this ICC Cricket World Cup League 2, where USA, you would have to say, just fought their way back into the match, probably winning that second session. They're starting to see a little bit of a part. As Nepal start to go all guns a-blazing. Still Gushinja and Airi in the dugout. Jesse Singh to open up session number 3. And pushed away into the up. Again, Jesse Singh has really been lackluster over the last 48 hours. This one probably started well too wide, given enough room. Push nicely with the pace. Mukamala is quick, but unable to get there. And this is the staple of Nepali cricket. Find a boundary and then be able to get quick ones with soft hands. It's quite brilliant what they're doing so far. And the job that Arif Sheikh has come in and done. Again, in the T20 series, didn't really get many opportunities with the bat. Came in for just the one ball in match number 1. But today, 33 he's scoring off 37, or valuable 33, especially after the couple of quick wickets with, I know, Sa and Bertel falling in quick order. And he's allowed Rohit Bodo to just almost bide his time out there at the other end. Only 9 runs for him, just off 21 balls. He hasn't looked in full flow as of yet, but you know he can turn it on. And for myself, for Andrew Leonard, who's alongside me, the 35th over, probably the point where you see Nepal start to push the envelope a little bit. Could possibly sneak into over number 40 as well. Use of the feet from Paudo. Quick single, takes on Harmeet Singh. And they'll get there in the end. Very quick, these two. And again, the thing about this is that they've decided very early that they're going to go and take the run. Rohit Paudo was committed. I think it helped that he used his feet as well. And we've mentioned, Andrew Leonard and I, that the USA probably coming off of 48 hours ago, what possibly was and what we deem is probably their worst performance in quite some time, maybe ever. But right now you're seeing a real sense of hunger that was missing. Elegantly played from Arif Sheikh. It's been smart batting like this to consistently find runs. And Jesse Singh hasn't been at his best self, and that's been really disappointing for anyone in the USA camp. Without Ali Khan, who's still trying to fight back from injuries, trying to get fully fit. You're really relying on Jesse Singh, who unofficially is the vice captain of the team, based on the fact that he did captain while Mohan Patel was away. He hasn't been quite as quick, nor as accurate. But the USA starting to fight back well. This over, though, belongs to Nepal to open up session number 3. 34 overs gone. It's 165 for 3. Yeah, he's been very consistent, and I think the speeds in which he's bowling, you can see him flight one up a couple times and then spit it through quicker through the air. And those first two deliveries probably perfect examples of what he's doing. He's lofting it up, so you're just almost having to watch and wait forward. And then the big thing is there's been a hint of the ball straightening back, and that's what you have to be watchful of. This could be close. I think Kinjige's missed on the first go there, Lenny. I think had he been able to collect it and right away hit the stumps, it would have been out. It was right over top, but I think he swiped and missed, and then on the second go was well home.